All right, so today is Tesla Mod Day. I'm gonna modify my Tesla and fix a problem I've been having for the past few months. Today I'm gonna be working on my Model 3, and from a distance, it looks pretty good, right? But when you get up close, so of course the tail light is supposed to be clear like this, and I've got moisture inside this one. I've had this for a few months now, probably 3 months. It doesn't matter what temperature it is outside. It's been like this in 90-degree weather. It's been like this in 40-degree weather. It will not clear out. It is in there pretty good. The only real way to clear this out would probably be to remove it and somewhere underneath or on the backside drill a small hole into here, put a hair dryer or something to evaporate all the moisture out, and then seal it with some caulk or some sort of weather sealant. That's how you would fix it. And maybe I'll do that as an experiment for a future video. But if you were to take this to Tesla, they don't even bother with that. They just swap it out for a new one. So that's what I'm gonna do today, is swap out the entire taillight system. I'd like to take this time to thank today's sponsor of the video, Hansshow, for sending these out. I really needed these and they arrived just in time. This is what came, and you'll see this is actually a full width strip. So it is the tail lights, but it also has a light bar across the center, much like the new Model Y that's coming out next year, the Project Juniper. It's supposed to have a light bar that covers the center as well. It ships in 2 pieces, so there's your tail lights and the light bar is a separate piece. All right, so inside the box, you get your set of instructions. Looks like the wiring harnesses and your tail lights. And the light bar also comes in foam, so it's well protected while shipping. So let's go ahead and start tearing this thing apart. The instructions say to power off the car and to disconnect the negative on your battery in the front. Because we're disconnecting power from the car, I always like to roll down a window or two, just so I can get back in the car if there was ever a problem, and you don't want to be locked out. So what you want to do is make sure you go to safety and then power off. Hold that. And that powers off the car. But as you can see, it doesn't completely remove power. You're gonna have lights and things like that because the 12-volt battery is still connected. I popped the frunk already. Let me go ahead and disconnect the 12-volt. All right, I just removed the negative wire from the battery. There is still power because we have not disconnected the high voltage from the car yet. So that is the next step. And then we will have all power removed. Underneath the rear passenger seat is the high voltage connector. This gray piece right there, that's what you flip that little side down and pull up, and that will disconnect your battery. Now we have all the power removed. We're going to remove this piece up here. You just basically get a pry tool and just pull it down. It's just held in with clips. And then we will take apart this little trim here. It also just held in with clips. It pops off. Get behind the carpet. There's a couple screws with bolts that we unbolt. We will run the wiring out from here and up along through here into there. And that goes to the tail light piece up here. And that will power the strip that goes all the way across. Before we get too deep into this, I need to give you guys a warning. This is a heavily modified Tesla. I've been modifying this car for years. This is a 2019. So this is before they came with the power trunk. So I've got a Hansshow power trunk kit installed. So you'll see wires running from that. I've also got, you know, the trunk light that goes all the way around the LED. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that you won't have on your car. So I'm just gonna give you the basic instructions on how to install this. Pry off that piece from the bottom here. Like I said, it's just held in with clips that go in these little slots. You just pull up and that comes out. So just to show you basically what you're gonna be doing, you wanna get behind the tail light, and there's gonna be a bolt there and a bolt up at top. So there's two of them holding it in, and the wiring harness is gonna be right there. So you're gonna unplug the wiring harness and unbolt those two bolts, and that will loosen this tail light in. There are a couple little pins on this side that are also kind of holding it in. They're like guide pins that line it up. And so you're going to need to get a pry tool or your fingers. I usually just use my hands and pop it out that way. But loosen everything up on the back first, and then you'll be good. Wiring harness comes off with one hand. You just pinch this with your thumb and pull at the same time, and this comes off. These two bolts are going to be 8mm, so get your ratchet with 8mm, and that's all you need to remove the taillight. Be very careful when you're removing these. You might want to loosen it with your fingers when you get to the very end, just so you can grab hold of it, because the last thing you want is for it to fall down into the abyss, down under there, and ask me how I know. Another step is we have to remove this little screw-on cap thing, and it is really on there good. So if you have a problem where you can't get it undone with your hands, here's a pro tip. Cover it up with a rag, get your channel locks. And just, you can lightly twist it off.
One week later.
And it's off. Now this next step is one of the more difficult parts to removing this, just because those pins are holding it in place pretty good. But you need to be able to get your hand in there, or pry tool. All right, and that is it. It is done. So I've got the wet light out, and listen to this. This thing is filled with water. So somewhere in here, there's a leak. I don't know where, somewhere where the seal has failed. But yeah, you would basically want to either drill into this or somewhere here, go work with gravity, not against it. Don't drill on top where water can get down in it. Drill on the bottom where water drains out, and then use some RTV or some sort of weather sealant to seal it back up. But that's what I would do if you're just trying to fix this. Yeah, see, look at that. Here's another quick comparison. This is the old light, and this is the new light. So it is a smoked out version to give it a more unique look, something a little different on the roads. You see a million white Teslas. Remember, the white color was the free one for a few years. So you see a lot of those on the road. This will make it stand out a little bit more. All right, so the first thing you want to do is verify there's no bolts holding this in. These are your little pins. You want to, well, I want to clean this up a little bit first. Where's all my OCD people at? The first thing you want to do is feed the wiring harness through this hole here. That's going to bring it into the inside of the car where we can wire everything up. It's just clips, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, you want to go ahead and get that lined up first. Next, we move back into the inside here. We've got our wiring harness like that. We can connect the factory harness to it. Next, you take your 8mm bolt and you're going to use your fingers to put it on the bolts back here. You don't have to tighten it down hard, you just want it on there secure. Just because we want to make sure everything's lined up, so you don't have to tighten it all the way. Just make sure it's on there good, it's not going anywhere. Towards the end of the project, we will tighten everything down, make sure it's on there real good and tight. But for now, I think we are done with this light. Let's just do the next one and then we'll move to the center lights. All right, I just removed both 8mm from this one and got lucky here. This one actually is on kind of finger tight, so I can remove this one without any tools. That's kind of the purpose of this style, is for you to be able to grip this without any tools to make it come off. So that's why they did it this way, but for some reason the other one was on so tight I couldn't get it without tools. So now with all that done, you should be able to kind of loosen it up. Then I grab from the bottom and pull like this. Don't know if this shows well on camera, but these look so good in person. I do like the smoked out, darker look, because I've always thought the side from the factory, these are kind of smoked out, not bright red like the tail lights from the factory. So I always thought it needed to come with a smoked type of light, but whatever. This is installed the exact same way as the other side. All right, now that we have both sides mostly installed, I've got it secured at the back. Again, not completely tight, but just loosely on there. It's time to move to these lights up here. We're gonna remove both sides and route the wiring harness up through there to where it can reach from there, because they have to be connected to these lights here so they work together. The first step is to remove this plastic piece, and like I said, it's just held in with clips. So the way to get this off is basically you pull it off with your hands, but you may need a pry tool to get in there first, just to get your fingers. There we go. And now we can get a closer look at what's going on here. This is going to be the wiring harness. And if you look right in there, that's the bolt we have to reach. So you may need a long socket or an extension on your socket wrench to reach that one. Some of the deep sockets may also fit, but before we do that, let me talk about this wiring harness here. See this little red piece here? We need to pull this out. So to do that, get a little screwdriver. You just put the screwdriver in there and pull down. And now it's loose to where you can pull this out. You see that? This part pushes up and down to lock it into place. So to unlock it, stick a little flathead screwdriver there and pull it upward to pop that out. This light only has that one bolt in the back, the 8mm I just removed, but as you can see, it doesn't want to come off like this because there's one of those pins, just like on this lower light, holding it in place. So you're just going to have to pry off by just popping it up. So this one popped off. You can see it's got those pins also. They're like little guide pins that are notched that kind of hold it in place. That's why you have to give it quite a bit of force to pop these off. And this is the new tail light that's gonna fit into place right there. But something I noticed on the back here is it's got this little clamp, and it looks like that is what's going to guide the wiring harness, or part of the wiring harness, or maybe it's the light bar harness to go in through here and connect back behind here. But one thing important to note about the wiring harness out of the back of this light is you see this big piece here? This is what you use if you have a Model Y. That's the connector that you use for Model Y. I've got a Model 3, so I do not need this. It simply disconnects right here at the bottom. Just push on this little lever here and pull it out. And just like we did with the bottom lights, we're gonna feed our new wiring harness through this hole here and line up our pins into these holes. This will go into there where we secure it with the bolt. And like I said, you don't need to tighten anything down just yet. All right, so we've got it just sitting in place here. It is not pushed in or bolted in or anything. It's just kind of resting in there. One observation I made is there's a pretty big gap right here that doesn't look like it's gonna seal when I push it in even further and tighten it down. So I don't know if there's a wiring harness that goes there or if this is like a rain channel where water that gets in here can run and leak out through the bottom. Either way, we'll figure this out. But yeah, I think this is gonna be cool. Let's see about this light bar to see what I need to do next. And this is the light bar. You see it's gonna be held on with the 3M tape, which is super strong. This is the same tape that's holding the spoiler on the deck lid of my car, and it's been on there for a while, not moving at all. So I have full confidence that this 3M tape holds. You can see it does have a wiring harness on either side. All right, so I'm figuring this out. This basically goes together like there. This butts up to that, and this wiring harness is gonna go underneath there and up through the hole with the other wires. But before I can secure this, I need to replace this light first so I can get everything lined up. We'll do the light bar last. All right, I replaced this one the exact same way I did the other one. Nothing different about that. So now you see this little piece that sticks out. This is what you're going to line up your light bar with on both sides, and we need to run the little wiring up underneath this. So first you got to figure out your orientation. You want it to match up completely with this end here, but we got to figure out this part first. So let's get a little creative here. All right, so first I'm going to feed this wire through there. Through that little bracket. And that little gap I was telling you about is going to be the perfect fit for that wire to fit through. It's basically being held in place right now with the wires being strung out through under the bottom, just kind of holding it in. Let me go get some tape to tape this in place while I'm bolting these down, and then we will secure this one We're gonna clean this real good first with some isopropyl alcohol just to make sure there's no wax or any kind of grease or anything that's going to keep this from adhering. This is always good to keep in the garage. You never know when you're gonna need that. So I'm just going to spray down a rag and wipe the surface where you're going to stick the double-sided tape. I'm using my 3M safe release tape to put this in place just temporarily while I tighten everything down. Doesn't have to be perfectly lined up. You're just holding it in place so it's not hanging by the wires. All right, we're back underneath the trunk lid here, and these are the wires. This is the factory harness here. This is from the tail light. And this is the light bar. So let me just show you what's going on, because there's a missing piece of the puzzle that I haven't shown you yet, and that is this wiring harness here. And it is labeled left and right. If you look here, I'm going to connect the big piece to the factory harness. And the good news about this is that they're all unique sizes, so they will only connect to the proper one. So you'll see there's actually 3 here on this harness. Instead of just having it dangle like this, I'm going to route mine behind the sheet metal here. And that way I can just connect it through there and do the same on the other side. That makes it easier so I don't have it draping over me. I can just start connecting connections here. All right, I've got everything connected up here. As you notice, there are still 2 empty ones here. They're different colors and they are not gonna fit together. These don't go together. There's another missing piece of the puzzle that is another wiring harness that carries the signal from here, and it routes down through there and around and plugs into the back of this tail light. So that is this one here. So if you look, hold on. All right, so it's got a white one and a black one, and they fit perfectly into these. So that is going to connect this light here to this light here. So they light up at the same time and they function together. And then we will do the same thing over here. I connected these as well, but once I'm done with that, I just need to route the wires through here. All right, so I think I'm gonna have my wire go from behind here so it can go out to that end over there. So I'm going to feed it through here. This is a close-up of what I'm doing over here. You'll see there's 2 pieces to this. There's this hard plastic piece that clips into this, and then there's this rubber grommet that seals it up, basically. So I ran the wire through this plastic piece, and I'll pop that in a little bit when I get the other wire. But then I may just have it hang out the bottom of this rubber grommet. That way I don't have to cut into my hose here. All right, so I've got the right side pulled through here and coming out here as well. So I've got my right side off to the side here. I've got my left one over here. That's how I'll know which one to plug in. So let me go ahead and connect everything up here, and then I will be just about done with this. I need to put the bolts on the light and tighten everything down. So the other end of the cable, I'm feeding through this rubber grommet on this side of the wall, and I just started tucking the wire down in there and pushing around, and I'll show you on the inside where it comes out. So when you pull down the carpet here, if you look up, it's all sealed over there where this wire would normally be. So you have to actually run it through this little hole here. And what I did is I stuck my finger up there to try to feel it. And as I'm pushing the wire through this grommet right there, eventually it works its way down to this area where you can just grab it with your finger and then pull it out like that. And that's how I pulled this through. You're gonna do this twice. You got one for the left side and one for the right side. So this one's the left side, so now I can just pull through here and feed it through there, and then I can run it over to that light, and we'll be pretty much done with the wiring. All right, let me show you the current situation here. I've got these all running down the side here. I'll clean this up, you know, one of the last steps. But what I did is I bundled the excess and just tied it together, and then the two little wires piggyback onto the wiring harness that's from your main tail light here. There was a white one and a black one, so I just plugged those in. So the instructions tell you to run it across the top to go over to this one. But like I said before, I like working with gravity instead of against it. So I ran mine down through the bottom and tucked it underneath all this. There are some clips that I ran it under, so that keeps the wire underneath and keeps it from popping up out of here. See, there's another clip there. The wires run underneath it. And another little, one of those little push pins. So I've got it there. And here's the other end. I just need to plug it into the wiring harness here that connects to this. And then the wiring will be done. I just need to tighten down all the lights and adhere the light bar to the car. Inside the box, Hansshow includes a bag of zip ties, as well as this is probably an adhesion promoter for the double-sided tape for the light bar. So we can use this also. We already wiped it down with the isopropyl alcohol, but this is also something that will help improve that bond for the light to stick. All right, I've got everything wired up. I've got these zip tied to the wiring harness. Just, this is a temporary situation until I figure out what I'm gonna do with it. But I've got it all run through here. It's connected on both sides. So all the wiring is done. All I need to do now is attach this light bar. There is double-sided tape underneath, so I just need to align this up and pull the backing off of the tape and make sure everything's even, and we should be fine. But I think this is gonna look really cool. There's double-sided tape on both top and bottom, so you'll want to pull those tabs to get that started. right, I've got it adhered to the car. Everything's lined up. Now I just need to reconnect power and test it out. Make sure everything is working. If everything is working, then I will clean all this up and put all the trim pieces back together and we'll be finished. All right, so that is the full width taillight kit from Hansshow. The install wasn't too bad. You'll be fine, just take your time with it. It can be a little involved with the wires running everywhere, but just follow the steps, you'll be okay. Overall thoughts are that I think it looks awesome. At night, it really is cool. It's different, you don't see a lot. A lot of new cars are coming out with taillights that extend the full width. So this makes the car a little bit more modern looking. I like the way everything works with it. My only complaint, if I had to complain about anything, is the reverse lights are not as bright as the factory reverse lights, which can be a problem for some people. It's not perfect, so I would recommend to Hansshow, if you're going to make a version 2.0 of this product, spend a little extra time increasing the output of the reverse lights. But overall, it's not a deal breaker. I think it looks really good. What do you guys think? Comment below. All right, thanks again to our sponsor Hansshow for sending these out. I will put a coupon code in the description below. With the holidays coming up, there's a lot of sales going on, so I'll make sure I have all that information in there for you. And I will see you guys in the near future. Take care. Bye-bye.